What would you like the power to do? Bank of America.
Welcome to the last word with City Council here at the Detroit Regional Chamber Policy Conference. And this session is really about where Detroit is headed in 2026 and who is helping shape that direction. And joining us, as you see, the 4 members of Detroit City Council representing leadership, districts, and citywide perspectives. James Tate, the president. Coleman A. Young, the second, City Council Vice President Pro Tem. Gabriela Santiago Romero, City Council Member District 6, and Letitia Johnson, City Council Member District 4. This is a chance to hear directly from council members about what they're focused on, what they believe still needs fixing, and what success should look like for Detroiters over the next year and beyond. So let's get started. Let's start with you, Mr. President. You're on the hot seat here first.
Sir.
Now, you were elected council president in a closely divided vote at a time when residents are asking for both stronger oversight and smoother collaboration at City Hall. As you look ahead to 2026, what are a couple of priorities you want City Council to be known for under your leadership?
So first I want to thank the Chamber for inviting us and allowing us an opportunity to come and provide the final word today. I think it's extremely important that, you know, the feeling and action of unity takes place. That doesn't mean that we just sugarcoat things just to make sure that it looks a certain kind of way. It means getting in and doing the sausage making, so to speak, to have conversations with each other. When I talk about that sausage making, that's with council as a body, but then also working collaboratively with the mayor. There's absolutely no way that we can have, I believe, a strong city when we have a weak mayor and a strong council, or a strong mayor and a weak council. We have to work collaboratively together. So I think that's one of the first things we have to look at. The second piece is identifying additional revenue streams for the city of Detroit. Right now, as we know, it's a very unpredictable situation as it relates to financial situation in this country right now. In the city of Detroit, we finally got to the point where we've gotten over the hump of bankruptcy and where we were, and we've got to keep that momentum, keep that momentum going. And I want to give a shout out to my colleague, my former colleague, Fred Durhal, who's in the audience there, and that's right. And I see our current colleague, Denzel McCampbell. Y'all give it up for him as well in the audience. Maybe next year we'll have 2 flights.
Absolutely.
And we'll have other council members up here as well. I think I saw Member Waters in the back as well. There she is.
Yeah.
There she is. Anybody else here from council? All right.
All right.
Yes.
Council Member Letitia Johnson, you've consistently emphasized equitable development and improving quality of life issues in neighborhoods, from housing stability to basic city services. And in 2026, what is the one issue, the District 4, that you feel absolutely has to move from discussion to some visible results?
Thank you for the question, and thank you all so much for having us. Thank you all for staying. So in District 4, many people know that our population declined according to the most recent census that was done, and as a result, our boundaries expanded. And so it is my priority to make sure we grow our population. Growing population in District 4 means development, means new housing. It means new businesses, things that attract families to neighborhoods. And so in 2024, the last time I was actually on this stage, I mentioned that we were going to host a developer summit, and we did. We did. We had over 100 developers that came to the summit that expressed interest in doing development in the city of Detroit. We are hosting our next developer summit this year. Just to make sure we continue to double down and provide information, resources, and support to those that are looking forward to coming into our neighborhoods and growing our neighborhoods as it relates to development, residential housing, so that we can grow our population. That's our number one. I shouldn't say our number one, but it is one of our top priorities because, of course, there are so many other things that are a priority in District 4 as well.
All right, Councilwoman Gabriela Santiago Romero, your priorities include housing, security, worker protections, language access, and community-based public safety. As you look to 2026, which of those areas do you believe requires the most urgent action from City Council?
Thank you for the question, and I share gratitude for the opportunity to share a little bit of what I think we should be doing. And I'm really grateful that as a council, we have been able to put things together like a language access program, and hopeful that with this new administration, a new mayor, and a council that is supportive of these efforts, that we enforce it. Right now, we have a lot of great things on the books that I just want to make sure are being enforced. If there are any gaps in resources, that we make sure that we fill that. You mentioned a laundry list of things that we're working on, and we are working on all those things. I will say, too, as the chair of Public Health and Safety, continuing to push the CVI programs, which we know have helped bring down crime. So just following best practices, moving new creative solutions forward, and then once those happen, making sure that we are enforcing and implementing and supporting those efforts. I would say that.
And just a follow-up, too, I know you've raised concerns about how city policies impact immigrant communities and historical marginalized residents as well. What role should City Council play in protecting access to city services while staying within its legal authority?
Sure. We're having this conversation now with the mayor because we need more protections. Unfortunately, right now, everyone needs protections, whether you're an immigrant or not. We have seen this. And we're talking, of course, as we face aggressive federal agents in our cities. And quite frankly, what I'm asking for protections is for everyone, whether you're undocumented or not. Having agents remove their masks will make us safer. It will show transparency about who's in our neighborhoods. Protecting our data and making sure that whatever data the city captures is not shared with agents. And then making sure that sensitive locations, there's Senate Bill 508 through 510 that talks about all these things. Today I testified at the Senate hearing, making it so that if there are federal agents that are at your home, not at your home, at sensitive locations like at your church, at your school, at courts, that federal agents do not enter unless they show a warrant. We are letting you do your job. We're not preventing you from doing your federal job. So the solutions that I'm pushing forward are actually to support everyone, whether or not you're undocumented or not, because Detroiters, Michiganders, Americans right now in this country are very fearful.
President Pro Tem, Coleman A. Young II, you are a large member and Council President Pro Tem, and you have really like a citywide lens, because you're an at-large member as well, and you have this citywide lens on Detroit's challenges and opportunities. And heading to, in 2026, what do you believe is the single biggest issue City Council must get right for the long-term growth of the city?
First of all, I just want to say, my man, you looking too sharp, man. You know what I'm saying? You so sharp, I touch my cup myself. It's always good to see you. Always in the right place, and I see you, my man. And before I begin, I also just wanted to say really quickly, I want to give a very special shout out to Chuck Stokes, as well as to Mr. Hollowell. They have been at the forefront of change in the city of Detroit for a long time. Can we just give them another round of applause? All the work that they contribute, everything they've done. So I just wanted to say, first and foremost, from my perspective, I think the biggest thing that we need to deal with right now has kind of already been mentioned, but I want to deal with the issue of crime. We got to make sure that people are safe. We got to make sure that people don't feel like they're prisoners in their own home because they can't go out, or that their kids can't go outside and play. For quality of life issues, we already have the crime violence intervention program. I think that's important because we're not going to arrest our way out of crime, and we're not going to brutalize our way out of crime or incarcerate our way out of crime. So I think it's important. I would also like to bring back a program that my father had called mini police stations, where there were actual police stations in certain neighborhoods that we could have, so you could have that police presence. Maybe it's micro-policing. We already have a Serve and Protect program where police officers are walking the beats in certain areas. I think that's important, one, in terms of deterrence. Police presence is deterrence, but also in terms of police officers getting to know the neighbors and the people in the community. I think that's something that's very important. Now, personally, I would like to see residency come back, but that's a different conversation for another day. Thank you. That's my staffer back there. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I think that's important, but also I think the issue that we have to really deal with is poverty as well. I think that's something that we need to deal with. I think out of all the things that we've done well in the city of Detroit, especially coming out of bankruptcy. I think that's the one issue that we need to do a better job in. I know that I have a lot of policies that we want to do in terms of, one, whether it's using artificial intelligence to be able to identify people that are at risk. Two, whether it's be able to expand the services provided for our partners in terms of homelessness, so people have beds that they can go to and things of that nature. Also, being able to use technology to be able to build more housing. I think that's something that's critical, whether it's 3D or 4D printing. That's my thing that I would like to do. But also, I think it's just in terms of making sure that we have more prefabricated homes, that we have more tiny homes, that we use zoning to be able to make sure that we have more homes available. Like right now, the reason why infill is so hard is because the average lot is 30 feet wide, but you can only put infill houses on lots that are 50 feet wide. And so we have to have zoning changes to be able to address that so that we can have more housing that's available, whether it's duplexes, whether it's triplexes, whether it's granny flats or ADUs. I think that's something that's important that we need to do because housing is a fundamental crisis. And so I think if we focus on these things, I think that's what's really gonna make the city resurge again. And I just wanna say for the record before I wrap up that it has been my privilege and pleasure to work with the Chamber. We have done a lot of things, a lot of policies that have helped the city of Detroit have come from discussions like this. And so it's very thankful for me to be able to partner with you. We are all grateful for partnership. We may agree or disagree, but these conversations, these discussions, these policies have led to positive change in the city of Detroit. So I thank you.
Council President, you've talked publicly about not being a rubber stamp while also emphasizing the need for cooperation in the mayor's office. Where do you believe council must draw firmer lines this year, particularly around budgets and public safety and land use decisions?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily drawing a certain line that didn't exist before. I just think that we've got to make sure that we maintain that autonomy as a city council. We are the check and balance. Going into every discussion, every decision, we as a body have to identify what is our true north. And I'm very proud of the last term where was able to usher in a legislative agenda into our rules, our rules that City Council operate by. For many years, we have been talking about it, working on it. We had starts and stops, but now we have some structure that allows for City Council to develop its own legislative agenda where we can measure ourselves on what our intended goals are, but it also provides a level of transparency for the public as well to determine if, in fact, we are meeting the mark. Once we have that legislative agenda, it is very critical that we work collaboratively, as I say again, with the mayor's office, because we are co-equal branches of government to make sure we can get those items across the threshold. Our heaviest, most strenuous part of the job, and when we talk about the importance, is the budget. City Council, that budget is the City Council's budget. Once we approve that budget, we hand it over to the administration. The administration then chops it up, sends it to us back in the form of contracts. Now we have more discussions about if we believe these contracts are doing what they're supposed to do. But we've got to check all these boxes, check all the boxes from our legislative agenda, but also not impede the opportunity for the administration to move forward on those priorities that this particular mayor has focused on. And I'll just say again, I'm very pleased and proud to have the mayor be a former member of the Detroit City Council because she knows very clearly the challenges that we may have had with working with the administration. And that's nothing to say bad about the previous administration. Shout out to Mayor Duggan, did a great job, but there's always opportunities to improve and move beyond where we are currently, and that's my goal as a council president, as a council member.
Councilmember Johnson, how do you measure progress when the changes residents want don't always happen quickly, and how do you keep people engaged when frustration with government starts running high?
So I think we've been dealing with that in District 4 since I took office. So back in 2021 when I was campaigning, we dealt with the largest basement backups in Detroit's history. Over 70% of our households had backups. And it's been over the last 4 years, and we'll continue this next 4 years to make sure that we uplift that as an issue. I'm in constant communication with community members, with residents on helping to determine how we solve the problem. So I think residents want to make sure that they are engaged on a regular basis, on a continual basis, making sure that they can elevate their concerns and even identifying ways to address the issue. It is my responsibility to make sure that residents are heard and that the residents, along with the administration, we can all come together to identify solutions that we all feel good about. I think it's important to make sure that we just continue to make progress, because when you have items that are as large as that, it takes time. It takes time to address it, but I think as long as we continue to see progress, we continue to see federal support that comes to address the issue. We get support from our state legislators as well. The community feels as though they are being heard. And I think it's just important to make sure we continue to have that open dialogue so they can see the progress that's being made as well as be a part of it.
Councilmember Santiago Romero, what does accountability look like to you after policies are passed, after you guys pass one? And how do you ensure that departments actually deliver what council promises on paper?
Yeah, so going through some of those challenges now, and new term, new leadership, new hope I have, and this is true for the truck route ordinance. We don't have an ordinance just yet. We are working on one, and we did roll out truck routes in District 6 in Southwest specifically. And we rolled a thing, and this is to your question that you asked Member Johnson too. Sometimes when we make promises, we're not meeting those promises. So the routes that we originally shared, we then changed. So then people are now frustrated, like, I thought they weren't gonna come down the street anymore. Why are you doing it now? So the constant conversation and engagement is incredibly important so that our constituents know what's going on. But we also have to make sure that we are solving these problems. In my first term, we passed a fugitive dust ordinance, a healthcare facilities ordinance, a language access ordinance, and on all of these, except for the fugitive dust ordinance, we sometimes do hear concerns of that as well, but we will often hear, hey, this is not being enforced, our city staff not trained on this, and that's our job then. When I hear, we passed a healthcare facility ordinance, essentially, a lot of women, when they were going to different health clinics in Detroit, like a Planned Parenthood, which I went to Planned Parenthood for my healthcare growing up, we have a lot of evangelical activists that come and tell them not to have an abortion. Many people going to clinics are not having an abortion. They're simply going for their healthcare needs. And when I was walking to a healthcare facility, when we were trying to pass this ordinance, somebody came up to me and said, I'm here to save your baby. Please don't have an abortion. And I was not pregnant. I am not pregnant. So these stories and experiences are real, and we passed this ordinance, but apparently activists are still showing up. Police are not enforcing it, so we have to call DPD and say, hey, where's the training? Can we make sure this is being enforced? So it's a constant, it is a constant, but that's our job as council, not just to pass a thing and say that we're done. We need to go back and make sure, is it being enforced? Is it fully funded? What else do you need for us to make sure this is actually working? Yeah, because I don't want to just say that we're solving a problem and not actually solving it. I think that adds to frustrations and to distrust from the public.
President Pro Tem, I know you've spoken about the need for balance between economic development and neighborhood investment. How should the council evaluate whether growth is truly benefiting residents across all districts?
First of all, that's an excellent question. Again, I think it's important for us to be able to track this in a number of ways. I think, again, whether it's artificial intelligence, can not only tell you where the investments are going, but how much money we need to invest. I also think that transparency is the best sunshine. So we had like dashboards that could tell people this amount of money went here. I also think that if we have analysis to see the impacts of what those are, socially, racially, economically, fiscally, you can even get further or more granular in terms of, gross domestic product. And what that means from a technological, from a scientific standpoint, I think that gives you all the information you need to see how to invest and see where to invest. But some of these things that I think we need to do, particularly in terms of the issue of poverty, is going to have to be more widespread. I know right now, the mayor, who I look extremely forward to working with, by the way. And before I begin, let me just say this. I just want to say a very special thank you to Mayor Mike Duggan and for all the work that he did. Can we just get a round of applause for what he did, the leadership he provided for us in the city of Detroit? He got us through some very difficult times, and he will be missed, but I am very excited about working with Mayor Sheffield. But I also think that it's important for us to, I know she's dealing with RX Kids, which is targeted funding towards pregnant mothers, which I think is a good thing. I think sometime in the future, I would like to have guaranteed income, where we're providing money to, where money that's means tested, to citizens of Detroit on a pilot-based program where we're providing $500 a month to 18 to 24 months to people who are making a certain amount of money on no strings attached. I think that's something that's very important. Studies have shown that's increased in terms of employment. Studies have shown that's increased in terms of people being able to buy clothes and feed themselves and their families and be more productive. I think that's something that's important. I mean, you can even measure happiness, which is not something you're supposed to measure generally. But the reason why I say this is because I know I'm going to sound really nerdy about what I'm going to say. But there's something called the happiness index, and from that it determines the amount of spending that takes place in the city. And so I think these are things that are important for us to look at economically. But the most important thing that we have to do, now that I'm done talking from a 1,000-foot level, is we have to go out there to the community and talk to them and ask them, are they feeling this? And what do they need? You know what I'm saying? Are we picking up that garbage like we're supposed to? Are we fixing those roads like we're supposed to? Are we fixing that light that we're supposed to? Are we out there picking up are we out there knocking down those abandoned buildings like we're out there? And let me just say this. The leadership that we have here is one of the reasons why we made that process that's been so significant. Whether it's Member Romero that's going through the public health and safety process, that's a long list of things that she deals with. I cannot deal with that, nor would I have the patience to be able to deal with that. And so it takes a special kind of person to be able to deal with that. And so I think that's good. I think the leadership that we have now, planning and economic development with Member Johnson as chair, I think is really, go ahead, clap it up. I think that's going to be really good. And the fact that we have Leader Tate that has the experience that he has, that allows us to be able to have the freedoms to do our job. And go ahead, clap it up, clap it up. Yeah, they allow us to do our job. I've been in situations, because I come from Lansing. Yeah. I've been in situations where it's like, you got a better chance of finding abominable snowman in the UP than you do of doing anything or accomplishing anything. We're not going to accomplish anything. And so I think, to have professionals that are here that I can work with, that are about the city's business, we might agree or disagree, but we can agree amicably. You know what I mean? I don't mean to be too personal here, but I've been in situations where people have been waiting on me in the parking lot to lay hands on me. I'm not talking about holy, if you understand what I'm saying to you. You know what I mean? To be in an environment where I'm working with professionals, that's just such a blessing. It's a blessing for me, but more importantly, it's a blessing for the city. Yeah. And so I think because of that leadership, now all we have to do is just go out there, talk to the community, and see what they want and deliver to the best of our ability.
Well, I just want to thank each of our council members for this, thoughtful and candid conversation today. Please give them a round of applause. And what we heard is that 2026 is not just another year on the calendar for Detroit. It's a moment that demands follow through and follow through on neighborhood investment and public trust and affordability and the balance between growth and equity. And while perspectives may differ, it's clear that the work ahead requires collaboration, accountability, and a willingness to listen to people who call this city home. City Council sits at the intersection of policy everyday life for Detroiters. The decisions made in the months ahead will shape how residents experience safety, opportunity, and quality of life. Not in theory, but in real and tangible ways. So on behalf of the Detroit Regional Chamber, thank you for your leadership, your service, and for giving us the last word with City Council. And then we appreciate your time, your transparency, and your commitment to Detroit's future. Thank you guys for coming and staying here. Have a great rest of the evening.